Welcome back to Coins Numismatics series, where hidden treasures, rare finds, and everyday coins turn into powerful stories that collectors truly appreciate. Today's episode is all about something most people completely overlook: dirty wheat pennies. At first glance, they may look worn out, dark, and even unimportant, but in the world of numismatics, appearance can be deceiving. Some of the most common pennies in circulation today were once used daily in a growing America, passing through countless hands, surviving decades of change, and quietly becoming pieces of history. In this video, we're exploring the top 5 dirty wheat pennies, these coins that may not shine like mint-condition pieces, but still hold collector interest, historical value, and in some cases, hidden details that many people miss. Let's dive in. 1941 wheat penny coin dirty condition. The 1941 wheat penny is one of those coins that seems extremely common at first glance, especially when found in dirty, heavily circulated condition. But once you begin to understand the context behind this coin, it becomes much more interesting. Minted just before the United States officially entered World War II, the 1941 penny represents a time when the country was preparing for a global conflict that would reshape the world. Even though the coin itself is common, its connection to this important period gives it a deeper significance. The design of the 1941 wheat penny follows the classic style introduced in 1909 by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, you see the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, symbolizing unity and leadership. In dirty condition, Lincoln's portrait may appear softened, with less visible detail in the hair and facial features, but the overall design remains recognizable. The reverse features the iconic wheat ears, which represent growth and prosperity. Even when covered in dirt or dark toning, these wheat stalks often remain partially visible, allowing collectors to evaluate the coin's condition. The mintage of the 1941 wheat penny is very high, with over 887 million coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint alone. Additional coins were produced in Denver and San Francisco, making this one of the most widely circulated wheat pennies. Because of this, it is very common to find 1941 pennies in dirty condition, as they were used extensively in everyday transactions. Dirty 1941 pennies often show deep brown or nearly black surfaces due to oxidation and long-term exposure. While this may seem unattractive to some, experienced collectors often prefer these natural surfaces because they indicate the coin has not been cleaned. Cleaning a coin can damage its original surface and significantly reduce its value, so a naturally dirty coin can actually be more desirable than a shiny, but altered one. In terms of market value, most 1941 wheat pennies in dirty condition are worth only a small amount, especially if they are heavily worn. However, coins that retain strong details beneath the dirt, such as a clear date, readable lettering, and visible wheat lines, can be more valuable. The key is originality and detail, not cleanliness. Error varieties add another layer of interest to the 1941 wheat penny. Collectors often look for doubled dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks. While major errors are not extremely common, they do exist, and finding one on a dirty coin can be an exciting discovery. Because dirt can sometimes hide these features, careful examination is important. Collector interest in the 1941 wheat penny is steady, mainly because it is affordable and easy to find. It is often one of the first coins that new collectors add to their collections. However, for more experienced collectors, the challenge lies in finding high-quality examples or coins with unique characteristics. What makes the dirty 1941 wheat penny special is its authenticity. It is not a coin that has been preserved in perfect condition. It is a coin that has lived through history. It has been part of everyday life during a critical time in the world, and that gives it a story that goes beyond its appearance. Every mark and layer of dirt is a reminder of that journey. 1943 wheat penny coin dirty condition. The 1943 wheat penny is one of the most fascinating and unique coins in the entire wheat cent series, and it stands out immediately, even in dirty condition. Unlike most wheat pennies, which are made of copper, the 1943 penny was struck in steel coated with zinc. This change was made during World War II, when copper was needed for military equipment and ammunition. As a result, the 1943 penny represents a direct connection between everyday coinage and the war effort. At first glance, a 1943 penny looks very different from other wheat cents. Instead of the typical brown or reddish color, it has a silvery appearance. However, in dirty condition, these coins often appear dull gray, darkened, or even slightly rusted. This is because the steel core can react to moisture and environmental exposure, leading to corrosion over time. Rust spots and discoloration are common on circulated examples. The design remains the same as other wheat pennies, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and wheat ears on the reverse. Despite the change in material, the overall look of the coin is consistent with earlier issues. In dirty condition, the steel surface may obscure some details, but the design is usually still clear enough to identify. The mintage of the 1943 wheat penny is extremely high, with over 1 billion coins produced across all three mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. This makes the coin very common, but its unique composition keeps it interesting and highly collectible. In terms of market value, most 1943 steel pennies in dirty condition are worth a modest amount. However, condition plays a significant role. Coins with less corrosion and better preserved surfaces are more desirable. One important thing collectors always check is whether a 1943 penny might actually be a rare copper version. A small number of 1943 pennies were mistakenly struck in copper, and these coins are extremely valuable, sometimes worth thousands or even more. While finding one is rare, it is always worth checking. Error varieties also make the 1943 penny exciting. Collectors look for doubled dies, off-center strikes, and other minting anomalies. Because the coin is made of steel, it can also show unique wear patterns and damage that differ from copper coins. Collector interest in the 1943 wheat penny is very strong, not because it is rare, but because it is different. It represents a unique moment in history when even something as small as a penny was affected by global events. It is a reminder of how deeply the war effort impacted everyday life. Dirty examples of the 1943 penny tell an even richer story. The corrosion, discoloration, and wear reflect decades of exposure and use. While these factors may reduce the coin's value compared to a pristine example, they add character and authenticity. What truly makes the 1943 wheat penny special is its story. It is not just a coin, it is a piece of wartime history. Even in its dirtiest condition, it stands as a symbol of resourcefulness and adaptation during one of the most challenging periods in modern history. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking coins turn out to be the most extraordinary. 1952 D-Wheat Penny Coin Dirty Condition. The 1952 D-Wheat Penny is one of those coins that many collectors first encounter in exactly the kind of condition we're talking about today: dark, worn, and covered with years of natural grime. At first glance, it may seem like just another common coin with little to offer, but once you begin to understand its background and examine it closely, this penny starts to reveal why even dirty coins deserve serious attention. Minted in Denver during the early 1950s, the 1952 D-Wheat penny comes from a period of post-war expansion in the United States. The country was experiencing economic growth, industrial strength, and a sense of optimism following the end of World War II. Coins like this were produced in massive quantities to support a booming economy, and as a result, they circulated heavily in everyday life. That heavy use is exactly why so many examples today are found in dirty, worn condition. They were constantly handled, exchanged, and used in real-world transactions. The design remains the classic wheat cent style created by Victor David Brenner, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. Even in dirty condition, Lincoln's profile is usually easy to recognize, though finer details like hair strands and coat lines may be softened by wear. The reverse displays the wheat ears, which symbolize prosperity and agricultural heritage. On a dirty coin, these wheat lines might appear faint or partially hidden, but they are often still visible enough to evaluate the coin's condition. The mintage of the 1952 D-Wheat penny was extremely high, with over 746 million coins struck at the Denver Mint. This makes it a very common coin in general, but finding one with strong details, even under layers of dirt, can still be rewarding. Because of the high mintage, collectors often use this coin as a reference point when learning how to grade and evaluate circulated wheat pennies. Dirty examples of the 1952 D often show deep brown or dark chocolate tones, sometimes with uneven coloration caused by environmental exposure. This natural toning is actually preferred by many collectors because it indicates the coin has not been cleaned or altered. Cleaning can strip away the coin's original surface and significantly reduce its value, so a dirty but original coin is often more desirable than a shiny, cleaned one. In terms of market value, most 1952 D wheat pennies in dirty condition are relatively inexpensive, especially if they show heavy wear. However, coins with clear dates, strong lettering, and visible wheat stock details can command slightly higher prices. The key is to look beyond the dirt and focus on the underlying structure of the coin. A dirty coin with sharp details can be a hidden gem. Error varieties for the 1952 D include minor double dies, die cracks, and other small minting imperfections. While these are not extremely rare, they add an extra layer of interest for collectors. Finding such an error on a dirty coin can be particularly exciting, as it may have gone unnoticed for years. Collector interest in the 1952 D wheat penny is steady, largely because of its accessibility and historical context. It represents a time of growth and stability, and even though it is common, it still offers opportunities for discovery. For beginners, it is an affordable entry point into coin collecting. For experienced collectors, it provides the challenge of finding high-quality examples or interesting varieties. What truly makes the dirty 1952 D wheat penny special is its authenticity. It is a coin that has lived a full life, carrying the marks of time and use. Those marks are not flaws. They are part of the coin's story, a reminder of the countless transactions and moments it has been part of. 1953 D wheat penny coin dirty condition. The 1953 D wheat penny continues the story of post-war America, representing a time when the nation was firmly established as a global power and everyday life was becoming more modern and prosperous. Like the 1952 D, this coin was produced in large numbers and circulated widely, which is why so many examples today are found in dirty, worn condition. But beneath that layer of grime lies a coin with both historical significance and collector appeal. The design is consistent with the rest of the wheat penny series, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat ears on the reverse. Created by Victor David Brenner, this design had become one of the most recognizable in American coinage by the 1950s. Even in dirty condition, the overall design remains clear, and collectors can often identify key details with careful observation. The mintage of the 1953 D wheat penny was also very high, with over 700 million coins produced at the Denver Mint. This makes it a common coin, but as with many high mintage issues, the challenge lies in finding examples with strong details and minimal damage. Dirty coins often hide their true condition, so collectors must look closely to determine their quality. Dirty 1953 D pennies typically show dark brown or nearly black surfaces, often with uneven toning. This is the result of years of circulation and exposure to different environments. While some collectors may prefer brighter coins, many appreciate the natural look of a dirty penny, as it indicates originality. A coin that has not been cleaned retains its authentic surface, which is an important factor in determining value. In terms of market value, most dirty 1953 D wheat pennies are modestly priced. However, coins with strong underlying detail, such as a clear date, sharp lettering, and visible wheat lines, can be more desirable. As always, originality is key. A dirty coin with good detail is often more valuable than a cleaned coin with similar wear. Error varieties for the 1953 D include minor doubling, die cracks, and other small minting flaws. While these are not widely known, they can add collector interest and sometimes increase value. Careful examination is required to spot these features, especially on a dirty coin where details may be obscured. Collector interest in the 1953 D wheat penny is driven by its role as part of the final decade of the wheat cent series. Coins from this period are often collected as part of complete sets, and even dirty examples are valued for their authenticity. They represent the everyday currency of a growing nation, and their worn condition reflects their extensive use. In the end, the 1953 DeWitt Penny reminds us that coin collecting is not just about finding perfect specimens. It is about appreciating the journey of each coin, understanding its history, and recognizing the value that lies beneath the surface. Even in its dirtiest condition, this coin has something meaningful to offer. 1954 DeWitt Penny Coin Dirty Condition. The 1954 DeWitt Penny is one of those coins that perfectly represents the idea that even the most common-looking pieces can hold real historical depth and collector interest. When found in dirty condition, darkened, worn, and carrying decades of circulation, this coin becomes more than just a 1-cent piece. It becomes a small but powerful reminder of everyday life in mid-20th century America, a time when the country was growing rapidly and coins like this were constantly in motion. Minted in Denver during a period of economic expansion and stability, the 1954 DeWitt Penny comes from an era when coin production was at a high level to meet the needs of a busy and growing population. These coins were used everywhere, from grocery stores to gas stations, and because of that, many surviving examples today show heavy wear and natural dirt accumulation. That dirty condition is not damage in the eyes of experienced collectors. Instead, it is evidence of a long and authentic journey through time. The design of the coin remains the classic wheat cent style created by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln is featured, symbolizing leadership and unity. Even in dirty condition, Lincoln's profile is usually easy to recognize, though finer details such as the hair texture and cheek definition may be softened by years of wear. The reverse features the iconic wheat ears, representing prosperity and agricultural strength. On a heavily circulated and dirty coin, these wheat lines may appear faint, but they often remain visible enough for collectors to evaluate the coin's condition. The mintage of the 1954 DeWitt Penny was very high, with over 251 million coins struck at the Denver Mint. While this number is lower than some earlier 1950s issues, it still places the coin firmly in the common category. However, high mintage does not mean low interest. In fact, coins like the 1954 D are widely collected because they are accessible, affordable, and still offer opportunities for finding better-than-average examples. Dirty 1954 D pennies often display deep brown, dark chocolate, or even nearly black tones. These colors develop naturally over time due to oxidation and environmental exposure. Some coins may show uneven toning, with lighter areas where the original copper color still peeks through. This kind of natural surface is actually preferred by many collectors because it indicates that the coin has not been cleaned or altered. Cleaning a coin can remove its original surface and significantly reduce its value, so a naturally dirty coin is often more desirable. In terms of market value, most 1954 DeWitt pennies in dirty condition are relatively inexpensive, especially if they are heavily worn. However, coins that retain strong details beneath the dirt can be more valuable than they appear at first glance. Collectors look for clear dates, sharp lettering, and visible wheat stalk lines. A dirty coin with solid underlying detail can stand out and attract interest, particularly among those who appreciate original, uncleaned pieces. Error varieties add another layer of excitement to the 1954 DeWitt penny. While not known for major headline-grabbing errors, there are still minor double dies, die cracks, and other minting imperfections that collectors actively search for. These features can sometimes be hidden beneath dirt and toning, making careful examination essential. Discovering an error on a dirty coin can be especially rewarding, as it often means the coin has gone unnoticed for years. Collector interest in the 1954 DeWitt penny is closely tied to its role in the final decade of the wheat cent series. Coins from the early to mid-1950s are often collected as part of complete sets, and even dirty examples are valued for their authenticity and connection to everyday history. They represent a time when coins were not just collectibles, but essential tools of daily life. What truly makes the dirty 1954 DeWitt penny special is its balance between simplicity and significance. It may not be rare or flashy, but it carries the marks of time, the evidence of use, and the authenticity that collectors value. Each scratch, each darkened area, each sign of wear tells a story of where the coin has been and how it has been used. In the end, The 1954 DeWitt penny reminds us that coin collecting is not just about finding perfect, shiny examples. It is about appreciating history in its most genuine form. Even in dirty condition, this coin holds value, not just in monetary terms, but in the story it carries and the connection it provides to the past.